Okay, with the time at 10:30, this is VK3 Alpha Mike Lima with the regular crossband session on 147.475. As is our custom, we run about a half hour's worth of test transmission, usually related to technical aspects of the history of radio for the first half hour or so. And then at 11 p.m. we open up 439.225 as the crossband chat frequency. Anybody is welcome to join. We usually have VK3ACZ, VK3ARD, sometimes VK3HFX, and sometimes VK3EIP and others. Tonight, as an initial item, a radio program on technology from 1944 during the Second World War. And one of the engineers who helped with the very first broadcast station of all in the United States, KDKA in Pittsburgh, one of the assistants of Dr. Frank Conrad, who started that station in 1920, recalling in 1944 the establishment of the station. The announcements on the broadcast will explain it all. This is VK3AML now going over to the 1944 program on KDKA and early broadcasting.
Adventures in Research.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Paul Shannon introducing another in the series of programs dealing with the thrilling adventures to be found in the field of scientific research, as told by the men of science themselves. And here to act as guide along these highways and byways of science is Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, whose lectures on these same adventures in research have taken him throughout the country.
Thank you, Paul, and hello, everyone.
Well, what are we going to talk about today, Dr. Thomas?
I have several subjects to discuss, Mr. Shannon, all of them interrelated and woven together into a story we'll call Eyes and Ears for the Millions.
Eyes and Ears for the Millions. That's a colorful title, all right. But what's it mean? And what are some of these subjects?
Oh, the telegraph, telephone, radio, television. All of them as timely as tomorrow. As absorbing a story as any thriller ever written.
I'll agree to that, Dr. Thomas. Radio alone is still an amazing miracle to me after all the years I've been in it.
It is to a great many people, and the story of how radio and radio broadcasting came into being is an equally amazing one.
It shouldn't be much of a secret to you, Dr. Thomas. After all, your own particular field of science is electricity.
Yes, but just the same, new ideas and new applications of radio waves are constantly flowing from the laboratories and industrial plants. And it's important that we keep abreast of these improvements, you know.
Oh, sure. It's easy to fall behind and suddenly find yourself out of date.
Exactly. Since the dawn of civilization, man has ever tried to improve the art of communication. And history is filled with reports of inventions and discoveries along these lines.
You mean like the Indian smoke blanket signals and the tom-toms of the jungle tribes?
That's right, yes. And all the improvements that followed. And since radio is based on electricity, any discussion of it could go back many years, say to the discovery of the peculiar spark-producing properties of amber when this material was rubbed on a piece of cloth or fur, or to the magnetic attraction in lodestone, dating such knowledge as far back as 600 BC.
That's a long way to go back, all right.
However, just now we're interested in the story of radio and how modern broadcasting grew from the simple experiments of amateurs, conducted both before and after World War I, to become the mammoth industry it is today.
That's a mighty big story, Dr. Thomas.
Yes, it is, and a fascinating and exciting one. The fact that modern radio has developed into a miraculous art which wields such a tremendous influence on our everyday lives is in itself a monument to all those unsung, uncrowned men whose tireless efforts and hard work made that development possible.
Not to mention those valiant souls who stayed up night after night, missing meals and sleep, to hear a varied assortment of wails, squeaks, and grunts over their earphones.
I remember that myself very well. Just the same, radio owes a great deal to those early listeners in to the wireless. Without them, radio wouldn't be what it is today.
Well, just for the record, Dr. Thomas, when did radio broadcasting actually begin?
That, Mr. Shannon, is what the legal profession would call a leading question. Radio broadcasting as we know it today began with the first regularly scheduled broadcast, the Harding-Cox presidential election returns, on the night of November 2nd, 1920.
1920? Why, I thought it started long before that.
Many other people think the same thing, but nevertheless, that's when radio broadcasting was born. As a matter of fact, the term radio broadcasting wasn't even coined prior to that date. True, there had been many earlier wireless transmissions. Reginald A. Fessenden and Lee DeForest sent out experimental programs as far back as 1906 and 7. In 1919, Dr. Frank Conrad, one of my engineering associates, began some experimental programs from his station in the garage of his home. The November 2nd broadcast was the culmination of these programs and other experiments and research efforts, both before and after those dates.
I see. Then the November 2nd broadcast put radio, as we know it today, on a regularly scheduled program basis. Is that right?
That is correct. And KDKA has continued to broadcast on a regular schedule every day since that date.
That must have been an exciting night for all concerned, for the men who did the broadcasting and the listeners who heard it.
Yes, radio history was made that night. The dawn of a new era of communication. And few, if any, of the men who took part in that event could possibly have realized what a tremendous force was about to be loosed on humanity.
I'd like to have been there, or even had the privilege of hearing that broadcast. It must have been a real thrill.
It was, for all concerned.
Where did that first scheduled broadcast originate, Dr. Thomas? And what was it like? You were right in the middle of things around that time, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Not on the broadcasting end, of course. I was interested more in the technical side of wireless. However, suppose I set the scene for you and try to recreate the program as closely as I can from the records and from memory.
All right.
The broadcast itself emanated from a very small room atop a factory building called the K Building in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Just a crude little shack it was. The room, I mean, not the building.
Yes.
Inside this small room, bare except for the transmitter set in one corner. And incidentally, this transmitter weighed only about 500 pounds. Contrast that with KDK's present transmitting equipment, which weighs around 328,000 pounds. Next to it, running lengthwise, a long table, 3 chairs and a high stool. And around here was gathered a group of men. An announcer, an engineer, and a checker. And 2 men taking down election returns as they came in over the telephones.
You mentioned a checker. What was his job?
His job was to check the messages for clarity and correctness before they went on the air.
I see. For those early days, that sounds like a well-thought-out arrangement, Dr. Thomas. The returns came in by phone, the checker checked them, and the announcer gave them on the air. Well, come to think of it, election returns are given pretty much the same way today.
Don't look so surprised, Mr. Shannon. A great many radio patterns or formats had their beginnings in those early days of radio. That arrangement worked on November 2nd, 1920, and it still works.
What time did the election returns broadcast go on the air that Tuesday night, Dr. Thomas?
Oh, it was about 6 o'clock. And a stormy night it was, too. Raining cats and dogs. But the election interest and excitement made the weather a poor second as a topic of conversation.
I can imagine.
Newspapers ran banner headlines reading,
Greatest vote in nation's history in spite of storms. Heavy vote being cast.
Harding awaits complacently result of vote. Governor Cox more confident than ever, he says.
Meanwhile, Dr. Conrad was standing by at his experimental station, 8XK, ready to take over in case of transmitter trouble. And up in the small room, our group of radio broadcasting pioneers completed the last-minute details for their broadcast. Finally, the time came.
Okay. You fellas all set? Where's that jump? Well, when I throw this switch, you start talking. Right. I'll give you the signal. Everybody ready? Right, you are. Yeah, I'm up there. Okay, it's all yours.
This is KDKA of the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company, in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We shall now broadcast the election returns. We are receiving these returns through the cooperation and by special arrangements with the Pittsburgh Post and Sun. The election returns will be broadcast as soon as they are received by us here at KDKA. We'd appreciate it if anyone hearing this broadcast would communicate with us, as we are very anxious to know how far the broadcast is reaching and how it is being received. Write your card or letter to station KDKA, East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And now, while we're waiting for the returns to come in over the telephone, direct from the Post and Sun, I'll give you the list of offices in today's presidential election. Here they are. Some 30 million Americans are electing a president of the United States, a vice president, 34 United States senators, 435 members of the House of Representatives, governors of 34 states, and thousands of minor offices, county judges, and officials. Okay, those are the offices to be filled. And here are the 7 complete presidential tickets that are being voted on. I guess you all know these names pretty well by this time, but there's no harm repeating them. And we have to wait for the returns anyhow. Here's the list. Republican, Warren G. Harding and Calvin Coolidge. Democratic, James M. Cox and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Socialist, Eugene V. Debs and Seymour Stedman. Prohibition, Aaron S. Watkins and Leigh Colvin. Farmer Labor, Parley S. Christensen and Max S. Hayes. Socialist Labor Party, William Cox and August Gilhas. Single Tax, R.C. Macaulay and R.C. Barnum. Well, those are the candidates running for the various offices in this election. And we're going to stay right here and broadcast the returns as they come into us, so please stand by.
And so the election returns continued intermittently throughout that night.
And here's another one here, a return from Topeka, Kansas. The first 206 votes counted in 4 scattering precincts have Harding, 109, Cox, 96, and Debs, 1. That's Harding, 109, Cox, 96, Debs, 1.
Okay, I'll take over while you get some coffee and sandwich if you want.
No, nothing much yet. It's too early. What time is it?
A little after 11.
We've got a long way to go yet. Oh, look, I just gave this bulletin here, and I'm just going to give this one from Norwell, Massachusetts.
All right, I'll thank you. Reports from the town of Norwell, Massachusetts, giving the complete vote on the presidential electors and the gubernatorial candidates are, for President, Harding and Coolidge, 409. Cox and Roosevelt, 48. And here's an item about President Wilson. After receiving the early election returns, President Wilson retired to his bedroom at 9 p.m. tonight and was asleep a half hour later. Oh, just a minute. A bulletin's just come in. I'll read it to you. The Democratic candidate, James M. Cox, and his chief manager, Chairman White of the Democratic National Committee, have conceded the election of Senator Harding. Yes, sir, the election is conceded by Cox to Harding. And it looks like Warren G. Harding and Calvin Coolidge are the men who will carry the affairs of our nation for the next 4 years. Of course, don't forget all the returns are not in by any manner of means, so stand by and we'll give them to you as they come in. And so you'll have the complete story as we broadcast.
Gosh, that must have been quite a broadcast, Dr. Thomas. Was that the end of it when Governor Cox conceded?
No, by no means. The schedule called for the election returns to be broadcast from the time the polls opened to about noon the next day. Around noon on Wednesday, November 3rd, a very tired, sleepy group of broadcasters gave the final returns. That is, as final as they could be up to that time.
It swept into the presidency with the largest popular majority in history, the greatest popular vote in the history of American politics, and the largest electoral vote ever rolled up by a Republican candidate. Harding's electoral vote had reached 391, with indications that doubtful states might carry the figure to the 400 mark. And so, here are the incomplete returns again. Harding, 391 electoral votes. Cox, 127. Now, before we leave you, I'd like to ask all those who heard this election broadcast to communicate with us, telling us how it was received. We are anxious to know how far the broadcast reached. Just write a card or letter to station KD-KA, East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is KD-KA of the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, signing off until 7 o'clock this evening.
And that was it.
That was it. The first regularly scheduled broadcast in radio history. And to the men who broadcast those election returns, and to the few hundred listeners, it was more than just that. It was the dawn of a new age of communication.
It seems to me there's a great deal more to this story of radio, Dr. Thomas.
Indeed there is, Mr. Shannon, a great deal more.
Well, then suppose we make it a date for next week.
That's agreeable. See you then.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard another in the series of programs titled Adventures in Research. Your guide telling the story of the first scheduled radio broadcast in history was Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And here, ready to take us adventuring, is Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Paul, and hello, everyone.
Well, Dr. Thomas, this is the day you promised to tell us more about the story of eyes and ears for the millions. The story of telegraph, telephone, radio, and television.
That's right, Mr. Shannon. We've already told the story of the first regularly scheduled broadcast of November 2nd, 1920, over the newborn radio station, KDKA, nursed into being by Dr. Frank Conrad, and thus turning what had been a dream into a reality, harnessing the swift, invisible energy, electricity, for communication.
Yes, and where do we go from there, Dr. Thomas?
Well, behind the triumph of that day lay a century of brilliant achievement. Men had always dreamed of using electricity to span space with words and messages, even before they knew what an electric cell or generator looked like.
That old urge, curiosity.
Yes, but curiosity with a definite purpose and goal. It was late in October of 1832 when Samuel F.B. Morse, a well-known painter, returned to America after a few years of study abroad. On the home voyage, Morse had caught the bug after talking with a learned professor on the newly discovered wonders of electricity.
Yes, there are a great many things, amazing, wonderful things, that will come out of this new discovery. I could wish that I were 20, no, 30 years younger, so that I might help in the development of this wonder, electricity.
The story you have told of this new power kindles the imagination, sir. Why, there are no limits to the possibilities.
I can almost see the wheels of your eager imagination turning in your head, Mr. Morse. But what are you thinking?
I was just thinking, this new strange power might be used, as you said, for many things like sending messages. Well, thank you, Professor. And now, if you'll excuse me, I must put some thoughts on paper before I forget.
Ah, youth and imagination. Who can stop them in their progress? My word, time for lunch.
Samuel Morse had plans for his telegraph when he left the ship, but 12 years of hard work, experimentation, and disappointment were to follow before he could perfect his device and prove it to a doubting world.
12 years is a long time to devote to one thing, and just an idea on paper at that.
Yes, it is, but a very brief period of time as compared to the countless men of science and others who have devoted a whole lifetime to one idea or cause and never lived to see the final results of their work.
Yes, I see what you mean, Dr. Thomas. They supply the idea in the first place, work on it without too much success, and others come along and put the finishing touch to it, and there it is.
Exactly. Ours is an impatient world which is not too much concerned with names and personalities, but which wishes only to see the results of their labors. Thus it has ever been with pioneers. Well, to get back to our story, It was on May 24th, 1844, that Samuel Morse sat in the Supreme Courtroom of the nation's capital, surrounded by the statesmen who had finally been persuaded to help him. In Baltimore, at the other end of the first real telegraph line, was Alfred Vail, the young man who had worked for years with Morse to help him develop his instrument.
The chair recognizes Samuel Morse.
Gentlemen, there is little I wish to say at this time. I propose to let this instrument I have brought with me speak for me. My assistant, Alfred Vail, is at this moment seated before another instrument, similar to the one I have here, in Baltimore, Maryland. I shall send him a message by telegraph, which he will repeat as soon as he receives it. Now, gentlemen, I ask that there be absolute silence during this experiment, please. Thank you.
Yes, as the astonished statesmen listened, their doubts vanishing, the message sent by Samuel Morse in Washington to Alfred Vail in Baltimore was repeated, word for word. What hath God wrought? The first great long-distance message sent by electricity.
That must have been a mighty proud day for those two, Dr. Thomas, and for everyone connected with that first telegraph.
Yes, and an exciting day for history, too, Mr. Shannon.
I can imagine. What was Morse's invention like?
It was based on a principle almost every schoolboy knows today, the principle of electromagnetism.
Mm-hmm.
When an electric current flows through a wire, it creates a magnetic field around the wire.
Yes?
If the wire is wound around a soft iron bar, the magnetic field about the wire is concentrated in the iron, making the iron a strong magnet as long as the current continues to flow.
I see. Well, what happens when the current stops flowing?
As soon as the current stops, the iron loses its magnetism. Such a magnet is called an electromagnet.
Well, what kind of a telegraph key did Morse use, Dr. Thomas?
His key was nothing more than a switch which opened and closed an electric circuit at the touch of a finger. At the receiving end, this current ran through the coils of an electromagnet, whose force could be used in a number of ways, so that the pinpoint made a mark on a moving tape, or it could be recorded on the moving tape, or it could attract a bar of metal which clicked down when current flowed through the electromagnet and sprang back when the current stopped.
Must have taken a lot of brains and engineering ability to figure that out, I'd say.
Indeed, yes.
Well, what about the code they used, Dr. Thomas?
The code was one that was worked out by Morse and Vail. The code representing letters and numbers by dots and dashes, so that it was a simple matter for a person receiving the message to interpret the clicks, or the long and short lines on the moving tape. Morse's code is still in use today in modern telegraphy.
Yes, I remember learning the Morse code when I was a Boy Scout. At home, my brother and I used to practice tapping out messages to each other on the tables, the chairs, and anything else that would make a noise, especially at mealtimes.
That was probably as easy a way as any to say, pass the butter, without saying please.
Yes, it was.
Well, getting along with our story here. About 20 years or so after Morse and Vail sent their epoch-making message, a British physicist and mathematician published an essay that caused some excitement in high scientific circles.
I say, this is the most extraordinary thing I ever heard. Just listen to this. I am convinced that there must exist electric impulses just like light waves, but of a different length. And then he goes on to say, there are probably other waves longer than light waves which cannot be detected by the eyes. In every other respect, the waves are exactly the same as light waves. That's extraordinary. A very nice theory, of course, but after all, it's only on paper.
What does all that mean, Dr. Thomas?
Well, this British physicist was James Clerk Maxwell, who had done a little mathematical figuring. Mm-hmm. It seemed to him, as his essay read, that there must exist electric impulses just like light waves, but of different lengths.
Yes.
Now, light waves as we know them today are electromagnetic radiations, which travel through space at the rate of 186,000 miles a second. The waves are very short, ranging in length from the tiny violet light waves, about 16 millionths of 1 inch long, to the somewhat longer waves of red light, 26 millionths long.
Gosh, I can't even imagine anything that short. Well, Dr. Thomas, what did that remark mean? A very nice theory, of course, but only on paper.
Well, you see, there seemed to be no way of proving it except by intricate mathematical calculations.
And was it proved?
Well, patience, Mr. Shannon. We have to move along now to the year 1887, when a youthful physics professor at a high school in Karlsruhe, in Germany, Heinrich Rudolf Hertz, told the world of some amazing experiments that he had been performing for the past 2 years. Experiments that showed beyond the shadow of a doubt that James Clerk Maxwell's figuring was correct.
Good. Then it was proved after all, even though it was much later. Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. That name is very familiar to me, Dr. Thomas.
It should be, Mr. Shannon. Hertz is called by many the father of radio. In fact, radio waves are often referred to as Hertzian waves.
Oh, sure. That's right. Well, what kind of experiments was he performing?
Well, briefly, he discovered that when he made a spark leap across a gap in an electrical circuit, he produced electromagnetic waves like the ones Maxwell had predicted.
How did he discover them?
To detect the waves, Hertz used a small hoop of wire which held 2 balls of metal a short distance apart.
Yes?
The waves from the spark made another electric spark jump almost instantaneously between these 2 metal balls, you see? Mm-hmm. With this simple apparatus, Hertz was able to prove everything that Maxwell said. He showed that the waves traveled through space with the same speed as light, and that they could be reflected or bent, just like light. But more than that, he opened the door to the possibility of sending messages electrically, without wire.
And in a way, it proves what you were saying, Dr. Thomas, about one man devoting his life to an idea or a theory, and another man finishing it.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Well, what happened after Hertz made his experiment announcement?
A great many things. By 1895, many great men were hot in pursuit of capturing these waves that Hertz had described. One in particular was not very widely known, for he was only a young man of about 21, the son of a wealthy Italian banker. But in 1895, this young man, Guglielmo Marconi, was launching an experiment which was destined to grow into an enormous contribution to the world.
Marconi, wireless telegraphy.
Yes, the two are synonymous today. But back in 1895, they were not so well known, Mr. Shannon. And very few persons even knew about Marconi's experiments at that time.
What kind of experiments were they, Dr. Thomas?
Well, in his father's garden, outside the city of Bologna, young Marconi had rigged up a spark gap similar to the one Heinrich Hertz had used in his experiments. But leading from this gap were 2 wires, one buried in the ground and the other carried high aloft in the air.
Yes?
Marconi was experimenting with antennas and proving to himself that with the proper antenna, a message could be sent over long distances. That same year, 1895, he succeeded in sending a message to his father a mile away.
That was progress, all right.
Yes, but he wasn't satisfied. He dreamed of sending a message across the ocean.
That sounds just like a scientist. To get something to the point where it will work, then tear it down and build it up again so it works even better than it was at first hoped for. Never satisfied.
Isn't it, though? Just the same, that's what makes for progress, Mr. Shannon, particularly in this electrical age of ours. A device has to be as near perfect as is humanly possible before it can be marketed.
Yes, I get your point, Dr. Thomas. Well, what happened next to Marconi and his experiments?
From his father's garden in Italy, Marconi moved to England for further experimentation. Bit by bit, he lengthened the stride of his messages, until finally in December of 1901, he was ready for the great test.
You mean the sending of a message across the ocean, as he dreamed?
That's right. In Poldhu, England, Marconi had set up a powerful sending station with receiving equipment in an old watchtower overlooking the harbor of St. John's, Newfoundland. On December 12th, all was in readiness to forge another vital link in the chain of communication.
And an exciting link it was, too, I imagine, Dr. Thomas. Gosh, I've been so interested in your story that I hadn't noticed how the time was flying. Can we tell the story of that experiment next week?
We certainly can, Mr. Shannon. You'll find it a most interesting one, I promise you.
All right, and thank you, Dr. Thomas. That's a date for next week, then. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard another in the series of programs titled Adventures in Research. Your guide along these adventurous highways and byways of science, telling the story of our various communications and their history under the title Eyes and Ears for the Millions, was Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The story of how our modern communication systems came into being is told in both words and pictures in the free booklet issued by the Westinghouse Research Laboratories under the title Eyes and Ears for the Millions. You may obtain a free copy by writing to the station to which you are now listening. And be sure to join us again next week when Dr. Thomas will tell the story of Marconi's great experiment with wireless telegraphy on Adventures in Research.
And that was recorded in 1944. The research scientist from Westinghouse talking about the development of broadcasting and even earlier, the telegraph. Well, it's time for the crossband. So this is VK3 Alpha Mike Lima putting out a call on 439-225, 147-475 at this end. Have we got any takers? VK3AML listening.
VK3ACZ listening.
G'day, Peter. Nice to speak to you again, twice in a day. And nice to see you at Knox just by chance. Prue and I were discussing after you were there that should we have asked him to sit down and have lunch with us. So our apologies if we have that as an oversight. Back to you.
Yeah, sorry, there's a carrier underneath there somewhere.
I'm not getting it.
All right, I'll ignore it. Yeah, a few things. That would have been good because I did eventually go and have lunch after doing the banking for this establishment. And I got a message from the Master Blaster of DX with a photograph showing that he was at Tullamarine on his way to Cairns.
Oh.
And I didn't bring my phone with me.
So presumably we have no 160-metre broadcast tonight.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Well, unless he's organised something remotely, no. And he said, pity, I won't be doing any 160 metres or DX. And I said, well, you won't be when you get back either because your antenna will be at Baronia, ha-ha. And he replied with a ha-ha when he got to Cairns, so I can confirm that he got there in one piece.
Oh,
because I didn't see his message until he was in the air. A little bit of activity today. Oh, the moon's looking rather resplendent. A half moon, about 45 degrees above the western horizon. I attempted a bit of HF today and only made one park on the air, which I already had. But this evening I intended to go to One Tree Hill, or should I say 1000 Tree Hill, to do my usual Monday night 70 centimetre net, followed by the 23 centimetre QSY. And the last time I paid attention at 1000 Tree Hill, the sign there said gate closes at 9 p.m.
Oh.
It actually, which would have been okay, but when I got there tonight, the sign said 6 p.m.
Oh.
So even though it was after 6:30, and I drove in, very quickly drove out. No, I better not take the chance knowing my luck. Wouldn't you know it, when I was going to my usual spot, which is up about 700 feet above sea level, to give me a good view over the west, especially for 23, an animal, I don't know what it was. If I had to have a choice, I'd hope it was a fox, could have been a possum. Something went running out and I clobbered it.
Ooh.
Immediately put the anchors on, jumped out, couldn't find said animal or any sign of it. But as somebody who was ill health retired for running over too many people, the last thing I need is to harm an animal just driving along. So that put a bit of a downer on things for a while. But anyhow, propagation conditions were absolutely brilliant. 20/9 signal from Maramoo, which is 75 kilometres away near Bacchus Marsh.
And this is on 23 Centium?
On 23, yes. And I could hear the Ballarat beacon fairly clearly too. I did manage to ka-chunk Mount William 2 metres. Whether the height had something to do with... Oh, well, actually, no, it wasn't so much because I put out a call on RWZ 2 metres, Mount William, 245 k's away. But it... no response, and a couple of minutes later it was very, very weak, so there'd been just a tad of enhancement. Anyway, that's about my story today, Chris. So other than going to Knox, or even you can feel free to tell me all about Knox too. What did you get up to today? VK3AML, VK3ACZ?
Well, Prue and I very often go to Vermont South shops. That's our local. It has a couple of good $2 shops and a very good computer peripheral shop, which we use when we need leads with phono plugs on them, or HDMI leads, or portable speakers, self-powered speakers. They've got all sorts of stuff like that, and frequently I need audio backup for particular applications in lectures that I give to U3A or historical societies, particularly for those societies that have a good data projector, but they're used to people who actually lecture to the screen using PowerPoint or something like that. I always pre-record the lecture with video and run it as an MP4, an MP4 video in 1080p or 4K, depending on what the venue is capable of projecting, usually 1080p. But the trouble is, a lot of these venues are prepared to use the little 3-inch speaker in the video projector itself as a means of reproducing sound for an audience, and it's patently inadequate. They just have NFI. So I usually take along as a backup a big Buskers speaker with an internal lithium battery, and that'll see me through an hour, maybe 90 minutes worth of audio if it's necessary, with a decent size 8-inch twin cone speaker, which is adequate for what I want to do. That is lecturing to a crowd of maybe between 50 and 100 people. That's the usual size of audience that I have. So that little shop at Vermont South is very handy, but Prue wanted to go somewhere she doesn't go normally. So I suggested Knox, just, off the top of my head. I had no idea I'd see you there. We were partaking of lunch just as you walked up behind us, and I heard this familiar voice saying, CQ VK3AML behind me, and I thought, hello? Turned around, then I spun Prue's wheelchair around so that she could see, and she's doing quite well. It's just that with the long walks that are involved with a shopping centre the size of Knox, she prefers to be put in the wheelchair and wheeled around rather than putting in a long and painful effort with a Zimmer frame. Back to you, Pete, VK3ACZ, 3AML.
Oh, yes, and I meant to comment on your broadcast first. Forgive me for that, Chris. KDKA is significant for anybody who does the QRZ.com trivia quiz every day, because quite often that comes up as a question. What was the first commercial station in the United States of America. And I've got a soft spot with Pittsburgh anyway, because I stopped off there, or when, for my family, we're organising a world trip. Well, not quite, a couple of, well, it effectively was around the world, but what I mean is the USA, England, Ireland, and a couple of other places.
Yep.
Stop over in Singapore on your way home. But the day after I had organised our itinerary, my favourite band, Dream Theatre, announced their tour of the United States of America. And had I been forewarned, I would have organised Madison Square Garden as the venue to see them, but that option wasn't open to me. Their tour most closely corresponded with Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because we were visiting my relatives in Penn, in a place called.
Oh, this is near the people with the bonnets.
Yes, the Amish.
Amish.
Yep, they lived across the road from the Amish, which was absolutely fascinating. Invited over there to have a look and spent an afternoon with them and had a meal with them. It was different. But anyway, getting back to Pittsburgh though, so that was the venue, and it was interesting because it's the only time I've gone into a concert and had to be frisked for firearms.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they did. I don't know, what would you take a handgun into a concert venue for, to fire shots in the sky in time with the music? I don't know.
Perhaps to invade Israel?
Invade. Anyway, so
sorry, bad joke.
Yeah, but I was very impressed with Pittsburgh, and of course I happen to be a barrack for, although if you're American you'd say root for. I root for the Pittsburgh Steelers, hence why I'm always perpetually sad. But because I discovered them the year after they last won the Super Bowl, but never mind all that. So yeah, Pittsburgh, got a soft spot for the place. Can't say I listened to the radio station though. I have listened to a local station in Pittsburgh that broadcasts commentary on the Pittsburgh Steelers games though. But anyhow...
so what's Pittsburgh like? I hear it's a steel town and very industrial.
Well, no, that's what you would think, but I never saw the industrial side of it. And flew into the place one time, caught the train out of there, and I've been through there 2 other times on the train. Oh, in fact, I had a cab ride on the locomotive leaving Pittsburgh, heading towards Philly. So, and we'd only been 3 or 4 minutes from Pittsburgh station when 3 deer, white-tailed deer, hopped across the track in front of us. So that was...
So you saw some steak fly past the window?
Well, yeah, something like that. But no, the place that looks really industrialised is Chicago, the eastern side. When you're coming in on the train and you start to see Lake Michigan, which looks like an ocean, not a lake, they look like they're all closed down, but it looks very industrialised and factory-ised. But no, I didn't get that. I obviously didn't see an awful lot of Pittsburgh, but the actual CBD is very, very pretty. They've got beautiful oak trees on the footpaths and the like, and it lacks that cold, impersonal thing that you get from places like New York. So, the 3 rivers join, and if I had a brilliant memory, I would recall what they all were, but I don't at the moment.
Now, one of those very early established towns in Pennsylvania was the national capital briefly, wasn't it? I think in the 1700s.
Not sure. You're way ahead of me.
I'm just trying to think. It's either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. I'm not quite sure.
Might be Philly, because haven't they got the Liberty Bell there, or is that Wasp?
My knowledge of early American history is probably better than most Americans' knowledge of Australian history, but not by much.
That goes without saying. But they have a patriotism that, well, I mean, you've been there, you've seen it for yourself. Every second house has got an American flag on a flagpole out the front.
Yeah.
They don't often have fences around their houses, which makes it look rather strange too. But grade 5, they're taught the Gettysburg Address off by heart at 272 words.
Yeah, right.
I don't think a lot of kids today couldn't tell us who Burke and Wills
What do you mean,
were.
four score and 10 years ago and all that sort of...
All that jazz, yeah. Well, see, that's where they're way ahead of us. And maybe why they do all sorts of strange things in that regard.
Well, you know, we were taught things like that. He had written me a letter which I had, for want of better knowledge, sent to where I knew him down to Lachlan years ago. 'Twas a shearing mate who told it, who wrote it, and verbatim I will quote it. Clancy's gone to Queensland droving, and we don't know where he are. I was taught that in 1964, and funnily enough, it stuck.
Oh, you're way ahead of me again on that. I'm not taught anything like that. I remember our teacher reading The Loaded Dog to us by Henry Lawson.
Oh, yes. Funny story. It's along with that story of the bicycle that gets out of control down the hill. And when you realise it's a penny farthing, it was bloody dangerous. Anyway, yeah, sorry, we're wandering all over the place. But yeah, Pittsburgh, I always had the impression that Pennsylvania was a very early industrialised part of America. South of New York, isn't it, I think?
It certainly is southwest.
Okay. Yeah, and Thomas Edison's original laboratory, Menlo Park, was somewhere between New York and Pittsburgh, I think. He later moved it to West Orange, New Jersey. That's where most of the Edison cylinders and disc records were made. So I've had a lot of association with that particular company, the Edison Company, through my work restoring early audio. I've actually been going through a lot of obscure audio material in the Internet Archive, and that series, of which two 15-minute programs I ran tonight, called Adventures in Research, was a wartime program. Most of the people who were available for programming at that stage were retirees, and they tended to reminisce. And fortunately, that particular guy had been present listening to the first KDKA transmission, so we can take it that the restaging of the Harding election results of the end of 1919, that's as close as you'll get to an original recording of the transmission. They didn't actually record it at the time, but 1944 was only 24 years after the original event, so it's like us recalling 2002, not that long ago. In fact, it's incredible to think that radio developed as it did from just zero broadcasting to the industry that existed by the 1940s. It's a remarkable saga of achievement and development. They had no broadcasting in 1920. By 1936, London had a television service on the air. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, note to self, get a map of Pittsburgh and find out where the KDKA antenna is, because I never saw anything resembling all that. There are no major hills, like a Mount Wellington or Mount Dandenong or something like that to plonk the antennas on for TV and everything, so I don't know where it would have all been. But then, as I said, it was so green and leafy, I didn't see any evidence of steelworks and the like, even though the place is reputedly famous for that. But anyway, as well as sending the attempted humorous message to Master Blaster, I did say also, I bet the WX will be terrible up there, 25 degrees and sunny. Ugh, who can tolerate that?
So I remember when I was in Townsville with Prue, every morning I'd get up at the motel we were staying at, which was opposite the beach in Townsville. If you could call it a beach, it was one muddy mangrove. And I would, we were up there in July, I think, the period where it's really nice. And every morning I'd get up and before opening the curtains in our motel room, I'd say, "What's the bedding? 26 degrees, sunny, wall-to-wall blue sky." And Prue said, "I'll give you 90% right on that." And every day it was the same. My father used to say the weather was so constant in the tropics during winter that people would go tropo just, for the want of seeing any variation. People from Queensland frequently tell me, particularly if they've lived down south here, that they miss the change of seasons. There's only, the wet season and the dry season, basically.
That's right. Yeah, Darwin, 34 degrees and wet or 34 degrees and dry sort of thing. Yeah. I suppose in the depths of winter I look forward to milder temperatures, but as soon as the temperatures get more than mild, I miss winter again. So I guess there's no completely pleasing me. While I'm looking at my phone now because I snuck off and grabbed it, humorous text messages. Quite Achiever did it to me night before last. He sent me a video to look at, YouTube video link, and I'd said, "Good timing, I've just finished a QSO via system confusion on 3 REC with Scotland." And anyway, he replied back, "You're hopeless. From the shoot fish in a barrel band, I love 20 metres, to stealing candy from baby's digital mode." I like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was... stealing candy from baby's digital mode. I spoke to him for a short while after this net finished, and I said to him that I would be pulling the pin completely and I won't be doing any system confusion, and damn it, I did. Just the one. I made a contact.
True confessions, folks.
Somebody in Stoke-on-Trent. Look, it's not DX. It's no big deal, but I suppose I like the... my justification or the excuse was I was testing the toy shop node to see whether it was working or not.
Yeah, I must find out if Ross at the toy shop has any second-hand power supplies at the moment too. Because I believe he's dealing with the occasional deceased estate.
Oh yes, he's he had Randall stuff, and I can't remember who else. There was somebody else who recently checked out that he was looking after their equipment as well, so he could well have. But good luck if you've got the courage to call him on the phone. I've been there when the phone is rung, and so I know what he says before he...
Oh, yes.
So I've never rung him up yet.
I've watched him, he's sort of writing out all sorts of dockets and stuff and order forms, and the phone rings, and it's sort of, you can see him starting to twitch after about the third ring.
Well, you'd think that the phone ringing usually means money, so he would welcome it. But no, it seems like it's a bit of a distraction for him.
He screams out, "What do you want, you bastard?" Hello?
You've seen him in action too. Yes. Yeah. Look, like almost everybody, I will seriously miss him when he's gone. But I'm also, and I gave him a bit of praise last night, but I'm very grateful for Guy at VK Radio Repairs too. He's absolutely brilliant. So we're in good hands, I guess. We don't have to rely on Andrews in Sydney with their, "Why pay for freight? We give free freight." But you notice the freight cost is tacked onto the price.
As a result of Ross not restocking larger home base station antennas for VHF, I was forced to get the X520 that I'm now using at the moment from Andrews in Sydney, and it ended up largely because of freight, because it's big, long. It ended up costing me nearly 50% more than it would have buying it off the shelf from Ross.
And mind you, I suppose I will miss the argy-bargy between Andrews and Ross. Have you noticed they slag off at each other on their websites?
I haven't particularly noticed that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I thought it would have ended because he sold a fair bit of his stock to Andrews. But I note there's still a little bit of a slap in the face with a wet fish in Ross's direction from them. So, well, true love never runs smooth.
I'm sure that Ross won't be worried if he's going to disavow the whole business by the end of the year, or by the end of next year, or by the end of the century. I think he can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, I was told a couple of times end of the financial year, but admittedly he didn't say which year. And the last thing I've heard is this August.
Oh.
Again, it might be next August. But
okay.
Look, it'll happen when it happens, I suppose. He's supposed to be selling the last of his stock from home when he eventually does shut his door. But as a meeting place, especially on Saturdays, it's absolutely brilliant. Although I went there one Saturday just to meet somebody, and I ended up having a 9700 follow me home. So you've got to be careful when you go there, even on a Saturday, thinking you're going to just socialise with other hams.
Yes, I think that's one of the reasons why my wife very rarely consents to drive me to Bayswater.
Oh, by the way, on the subject of Prue, she certainly looked bright, bubbly, and had a beautiful smile and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But she gave the impression she couldn't move her neck at all as she got the spinal issues.
Yes. The poor thing has an affliction, I can describe it, and I'm sure she wouldn't worry about it being made public, called DISH, diffuse idiopathic skeletal hypertrophy. What it briefly means is that she has rather the opposite of osteoporosis, which is what a lot of women get as they grow older. Instead of the bone becoming less dense, what her skeletal system is doing, particularly around the thoracic area, is bone is growing over all of the discs in the vertebrae, so that her spine for the last 3 years has been completely immobile. She has a cage, a fitted metal cage in the lower part of her back to separate the vertebrae of the spine so that the spinal cord isn't pinched. Otherwise she would have lost feeling and the ability to walk completely. But it does mean that when she is in the car or when she's in the wheelchair, she can only see to the side by shifting her bum on the seat. And she has provision for that in the car. There's sort of a Teflon thing underneath where she sits. But that's why the first thing I did when you walked up to us was to spin the wheelchair around.
Yeah, I noticed that, but even before that, when she was looking at the corner of her eye, I mean, I'm not exactly an oil painting at the moment anyway. I wouldn't have been surprised if she wanted no eye contact, but I'm half joking, but you know what I mean.
No, she likes you. I mean, you've had a very common, but the two of you have had a lot of things in common in terms of your professional life.
Well, I don't know if we established whether we were actually at the Children's at the same time or not.
She probably was there a year or two before you. I think she was at the Children's about 75 or 76, something like that. And the lady that she trained with at the same time subsequently got into midwifery and now teaches midwifery. In fact, I think she's retiring this year. I mean, we're all of Prue's and my friends are getting into their 60s and 70s now. In fact, I just after you left us, I ordered a focaccia from that shop that we were standing at, which we split in half, and Prue has half, I have half, and we get it heated up. And Prue yelled out, do you have pensioner or seniors rates? And the girl said, we do. And I said to the girl, who must have been all of 25, do you really want me to get out my senior's card? And she said, oh, I'm sure you look like you're 20. And I said, fair suck of the sap. I haven't been that for 52 years. We both had a good laugh.
Might feel that way sometimes, although I certainly haven't for a long time. I just don't know where all those years went. From 20 to my current age, my goodness, it went fast. But getting back to the children's thing, she would have done her adult time, and I can't remember how long it was for children's hospital trainees. I think it was 3 months. We did 10 weeks.
Something like that. She had a series of placements at the time, I remember towards the end of the course, and the one that she found impossible to deal with emotionally was the children's cancer ward. It was just too grim.
Well, trust me, 3 North at the Royal Melbourne wasn't much better. It was awful. I ended up asking for a transfer. I did 8 out of what was supposed to have been 12 weeks. Asked if I could be shifted. So, with kids it would be worse again, but then I saw all that anyway. You didn't have to be in the cancer ward with kiddies. It's just staggering to think that, or because you do think it's an elderly seniors sort of affliction, and no, it's not. You've got 2-year-olds dying of brain tumours and stuff like that. Yes. Anyway, moving away from that a little bit, I think we were in the similar geographical location. I might have been over at the children's while she was there, and she might have been at the Melbourne while I was there as well.
She lived at Fleming. What's the name? Near the Dabney's Park Housing Commission flats. She was sharing a house with a friend that's still a friend, out in that direction. What's the name of it? Dabney's Park. Is it Flemington?
So she wasn't
Kensington.
She wasn't in the nurse's home itself then.
For a while she was, but I think she and the girl that went through the course with her also, they liked getting out and about and doing fun stuff, and it was hard to do that at the nurse's home. And
you had curfew times and stuff like that.
They usually had, from what I gather, in those days, they had some hulking lesbian, usually, matron in charge of the nurse's home, who was quite capable of intimidating any male suitors from visiting.
and we weren't allowed in there either. The Royal Melbourne, where I trained, we had we were all on the first floor of what was a 10-storey high nurses' quarters, the Charles Connebier Memorial Nurses' Quarters, which has now been demolished and is the Royal Women's.
I don't think they actually have nurses' quarters now.
I bet they don't, but back in, like, we're talking 70s, they did. And so, the males were all on the first floor. We had some women on the first floor as well, but they actually asked to be there. At the children's, all the males, including me, were on the other side of Gatehouse Street. I was in a terrace house at number 30 Gatehouse Street. Bit of useless information for you.
That's a nice spot. One side is park and the other side are terraces, I think.
Well, I was actually number 30 was directly opposite the casualty ambulance entrance.
Well, so convenient to walk to work?
Then I didn't have one of the front rooms. I had a room at the side which had a beautiful view of a brick wall. It was upstairs because it was a 2-storey terrace house, but it looked directly onto a brick wall. So, yike.
Lovely.
And they must have been over 100 years old at the time, because all the, like Carlton and where this was Flemington, it was all terrace houses, and I gather they were there since 5 minutes after John Batman cleared out.
Oh Christ! Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes, it's a pleasant part of the world. Every time now we go to visit Prue's elder brother, she used to have 2 elder brothers, it's now down to 1. Terry, he lives in North Melbourne off Errol Street, and we go down Gatehouse Street to get to him. North end of Errol Street, the end that very few people visit.
Yeah. Well, another thing about that park too, the air ambulance used to land in the park.
Oh,
I mean, in the new hospital now, and the Royal Melbourne, which they didn't have at the Royal Melbourne when I was there. I think, the Alfred was the place where the where adult passengers.
They have some sort of a thing over the road there, don't they?
Yeah, and an ambulance got bogged once, so they eventually built a heliport over the top of Commercial Road, or
yes,
yeah. But anyway, when they built a concrete base for the helicopter to land at the back, so we'd wheel the stretcher out. There was a little gate at the back of the hospital. And even though it was a big concrete helipad, when the thing came down, the blast of wind brought up dust and every conceivable thing, and you had to shut your eyes just because the dust was so
and you
brutal.
Occasionally, you would probably have flights in the middle of the night disturbing your sleep, wouldn't you? From the...
No. Well, not that I... Well, where I was, we were far enough from it that you probably wouldn't have heard it anyway, because it was more like... from Gatehouse Street, you had the nurses' quarters first, and then you had the main buildings, and it was almost to the far... What is it? Western side.
Yep.
The helipad was almost to the far western side, so it was about 300 metres from Gatehouse Street anyway. But the thing is that nowadays, if it was kicking up that sort of dust, you'd have been issued safety glasses and the like. No one cared.
They want to have everybody in cotton wool.
Yeah, but I used to be amazed at how much draft was created by that bird that used to come down. Of course, it was the old Dauphin too, which made that real jet engine, funny sort of sound. You didn't hear the whoop, whoop, whoop of the rotor blades. You just heard this whirring jet engine sound.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Always would have loved a cab ride in one of them, although...
Did you ever have a cab ride in one?
Not in one of those. The only time I've been in a helicopter was at Alice Springs. Well, not Alice Springs, Glen Helen on the western side of Alice Springs.
How did that happen? What were you doing there?
Oh, it was a joy flight. Glen
Yeah.
Helen Station on the West McDonald's had I don't think it was all that expensive either. But, he flew through all the gullies and all that, and tried to show off too, like he was heading straight into cliffs and would suddenly rise vertically and all that when you think you were going to plough into it.
Yeah.
I wish he'd just driven along nicely, but there was a bit of a scary show-off factor involved in this pilot's flying us around, these paid tourists. But the West McDonnell Ranges in Northern Territory, absolutely fantastic. You got a sort of like desert, but I mean it's very rocky and all that, dry river beds, and very impressive to see from the air. So the helicopter flight was well worth it. But to get on the air ambulance here, no, I think you've got to be flat out on the stretcher, and you're not likely to appreciate the ride.
Yeah, I can just hear a heterodyne behind you. Does somebody want to join us? Are there any other people who'd like to join the conversation? VK3AML?
VK3BJS.
Oh, g'day, Jeff. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And good evening, Peter. You mentioned Gatehouse Street. That was the scene of Edward Joseph Leonsky's last murder, and the one that he became unstuck with, literally, because he was covered in clay and mud when he strangled the woman in the trench where Camp Pell was in 1942.
Is that where Camp Pell was, at Gatehouse Street?
Right.
Oh.
And the big tough US Marines were very disconcerted by the roaring of the lions in the zoological gardens. I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause the Children's Hospital wouldn't have even been built then because that was, wasn't it early 60s or something like that, late 50s?
Not sure. Do you know, Jeff?
No, I'm just getting back into bed, putting the... I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But that's where the Haymarket used to be up there as well, didn't it?
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of any of that.
Very scary, Jeff, and good evening. Thank you for joining us. I knew you were going to say the name Leonsky.
Melbourne was in a grip of terror for a couple of weeks in 1942 because he had strangled 3 women. One down in Victoria Street, Albert Middle Park, behind the Bleak House Hotel.
There was the Fitzroy Gardens one, wasn't there?
Then there was another one up in Spring Street, a boarding house opposite the gardens. He strangled her on the front doorstep. And his third victim was strangled in a trench off Gatehouse Street. It was surrounding Camp Pell.
Oh, okay. My mother told me that there was a period in the war where Dad was at war in, I think, Port Moresby at that stage. It was either that or Catherine. And she had to walk home each night from CSIRO offices in the city, and frequently she went through the Fitzroy Gardens, and she was terrified. There was, for young women unescorted, there were real worries while all of that was going on.
That's true. And you're right, I've got the complete history of Mr. Leonsky.
You've stood at his graveside, haven't you?
Yes, Camp Schaefer, out of Honolulu.
Did they hang him here or over there?
Well, hang on. They kept him at the old Melbourne jail, and he was convicted of the 3 murders. He was obviously insane through drink, but General Douglas MacArthur wanted to maintain law and order, so he gave him the old Nero thumbs down. You're it. So he was hung on the 9th of November 1942 at Petridge.
Oh.
And the drop, and that was possibly a week after my 3rd birthday.
Okay. So
when we went to Honolulu, one of our trips, I can't remember the exact date, but we drove up to the camp, let through by armed guards, and we drove up to the camp cemetery, and I asked a gardener there where the executed prisoners were, and he pointed over and he said, they're behind that privet hedge, and you'll find that all the graves are facing away from the flag. So we went over there, and there was more than old Leonsky. There were 3 or 4 others there, all facing away from the flag.
So they gave him the next stretch, then stuck him in a box and sent him to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's called a rehabilitation.
Sorry.
Well, he was. He was rehabilitated, wasn't he, Jeff?
A little late.
He certainly was, but the story was that the body was buried at Spring Vale here. Somebody stole the dog tags, and they moved his body from Spring Vale up to out of Brisbane. It starts with I can't think of the name, where other soldiers were buried, and then they took the whole lot eventually to Honolulu and buried them at that camp, at that cemetery in the camp.
Yes.
Ipswich?
Could have been Ipswich. Yeah, could have been. But anyway, that's the story on Edward Joseph Leonsky.
Yeah, he was a much nicer fellow after they hung him.
Oh, Christ.
He was an all right bloke, but he got onto the beer, the spirits, and he'd walk on his hands on the bar and carry on, and usually he was attracted by the women's voices, and he wanted them. So the only way he'd get the women's voices was to strangle them.
Oh, yuck.
And I visited all three graves. There's one out at Heidelberg. There's one at, might be two at Faulkner, I think. I found the graves, and I found his grave. So it's all documented with film, video, newspaper cuttings, etc., etc.
God, he did a better tourist trip when he was dead than when he was alive.
I often wonder if he had survived the Second World War, he'd be probably nudging around or over 100 now.
Yes, well, they all would. Yeah.
Well, not to glorify anybody, but I wouldn't mind seeing Squizzy's grave. I believe he's in Brighton Cemetery, wishing up daisies.
In a month?
Yes, he's there. I've seen it. I have a photo of it, and it's just a very plain surround grey, no headstone, but at the foot of the grave, it's just got Taylor, that's all.
Oh, well, thank you. You've saved me bothering to look it up. Not that I would have thought that statement he was famous for, what's that, once you live in clover, because once you're dead all over, or something like that. I would have thought he'd have got that on a headstone.
Oh, well, no, it's just at the foot of the grave, just Taylor, that's all.
Yeah, I've been to Brighton Cemetery looking at a few other graves there, like Adam Lindsay Gordon is buried there, and the brother of Billy Williams, the early recording star who died in 1915, his brother, who was a great golfer, is also at Brighton Cemetery. Interesting poking around cemeteries. You don't know what sort of stories you can find. The other cemetery I've poked around a lot is where Tony Sanderson's buried, the Burundara Cemetery. I think.
Old one, isn't it?
I think Nellie Stewart, the early Australian theatrical lady, is buried there, and quite a few other notables. And it's amazing the amount of money some people spend on the graves, particularly when, you know, a lot of the people who put up graves like that, particularly for some strange reason Italian families, they spend more on their deceased relatives after they're dead than when they're alive. It's amazing.
Especially up at Ingham in North Queensland, the Cane people and everything. As you say, it's like a little Rome to walk around that cemetery in Ingham. I was most impressed. I've been there a couple of times on my way through to Cairns.
And Mildura's a bit like that too. In fact, you can tell that they're growing green illegal produce because of the lavish amount of money spent on the certain culture graves.
You know, Tony Sanderson, who had my call sign before me, had a cousin, Guy, who was a grave digger and maintenance man at Burundara Cemetery. That's why Tony got the plot there. It was actually a plot that Guy had set aside for himself, but decided to give to Tony's widow as a gift to tide her over a very bad period. And I remember Tony, this is about 5 years before he died, is talking about Guy. There had been a contractor who had put up a big tomb. And I guess the contractors decided that there would be no complaints from the occupant. So they didn't bother very much with standard building practices, and a lot of those tombs that were built in the last 30 years have no damp caused. So as a result, some of those tombs are actually a danger to anybody who walks close to them, and they've had to be rebuilt or demolished completely after the people have tapped on the brick wall and the wall's fallen over or something similar.
I had something like that, Chris, at the Mulwala Cemetery, which was odd because the, not ammunition, the propellant powder factory is directly behind the cemetery. And you hear a bell ringing, and then there's a thump, and they're obviously testing explosives, but the ground shakes and everything. But I sunk below my knees, not actually on a grave, well, I don't know if it was on a grave, but rabbits had completely burrowed out a spot there, and the next thing I knew, I was down to my knee in the sandy soil.
Struth.
Hang on, wind it down.
Yes.
A very interesting cemetery to visit if you're in Hollywood is Hollywood Forever. Now, that is a cemetery in behind Paramount Studios. And there's a lot of celebrities in there. Virginia Rappy. Does that ring a bell with you, Stu?
Virginia Rapp, yeah.
R-A-P-P-E.
She was the victim of the so-called attempt to besmirch the name of...
Fatty Arbuckle.
Fatty Arbuckle, yeah. He was alleged to have done it to her with a bottle at the hotel in Powell Street, San Francisco.
That's right, yes.
The Hotel St. Francis.
She's there, Tyrone Power, Cecil B. DeMille and his wife.
He was a bastard.
And what was the B in Cecil B?
Bastard.
No, come on, you should know.
No idea.
Blount, B-L-O-U-N-T.
Blount, okay.
Blount.
I'll remember that.
Tyrone Power, that black Sheila out of Gone with the Wind.
Oh, Hattie McDaniel.
Yeah, she's there. Douglas Fairbanks Senior and Junior with their own lake. Look, it goes on, and you go in the mausoleum, of course, and there's heaps of them there, too numerous to mention.
Yes, the Yanks made a film, a sort of a satirical film, called The Loved One in the mid-60s.
Yeah.
Which was sending up that whole, Hollywood Forever sort of syndrome. It's a totally bent film. I mean, they have a mortician named Mr. Joyboy in the film, and it's played by Liberace. Any film that has Liberace playing a mortician has got to be good.
Now, one thing before I forget, Chris.
Yeah.
I know you're into old Hollywood, Roger.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I have acquired another book from the BBC series many years ago, all about the silent era, excuse me, in Hollywood.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Next time I see you, you can have the other copy.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Is it VHS or what?
No, it's a book, a thing between two covers, and it has pages.
I didn't realise there was a spin-off book from that series. It was about 46 years ago that was made, back about 1980, I think.
And I recorded it all on tape.
It was a very good series. William K. Everson, I think, was the...
I'm looking at my copy in the shelves now. I've got 2 shelves here devoted to Hollywood.
And a lot of silent actors who hadn't appeared on the screen since Talking Pictures came in appeared in that series too, being interviewed.
Yes, it's a very, very good book. So as soon as I acquired the other copy, I thought, I'll give it to you.
Oh, thanks.
Possibly see you down at Long Warry Hamfest.
Long Warry. It's hard to get to by public transport, I must say, compared to some of the other venues. Is that Monash or Pham Park or what, Jeff?
Gippsland Gate.
Oh, Gippsland Gate. Okay. Normally I go to their thing at Cranbourne, I think I've done in the past.
Yes, but now it's Long Warry.
I wonder why they've changed.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, they had no trouble with lighting.
Never mind. I and Anthony will be sharing a table.
The one at, Moorabbin, they might as well have had it in a coal mine. I mean, Christ.
They fixed it, the latest venue. What they did wrong, though, is it didn't tell us all that it was in 3 rooms.
Okay.
Yes, very bad. Next year, if they have it at the same venue, I shall be demanding a table in the main hall. I've done my penance in the bad boy corner.
Oh, that must be why I didn't see you, Jeff. That's right.
Naughty boy, go to the back of the class, the corner.
One other thing, I found that book on the autobiography of George Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
That Harry was talking about by somebody Kinnear.
Mm-hmm.
And in the pages opposite near the photo of the house at number 11, he was right, Buxton Street.
Yep.
Right opposite where we lived in number 12 is 2 photos taken in 1945. One photo was taken by my mother with my dad still in his army uniform, pipe out of his mouth, and us 3 children in front of him, Jeff, John and Peter. Then the camera was handed to Dad, and he took a photo of our mother.
Was he a Sylvester by then?
Yes. Yes, of course he was. And in
Since
the background
the First
you can see the top front where the finial is of number 11, where the Johnsons were living at the time.
Okay. The reason I asked about the Sylvester, because the other branch of your family retained their original German name, the Graham Bell bass player chap, Lou, I think.
The only other one to change was Phil, because he wanted to join the RAAF. He had a conviction for assault under his original name, so he changed the name at the same time that my father did in July 1940, but he didn't end up in the Air Force any rate. He ran the family guest house at Queenscliff.
Okay. Why did he get involved with assault? Did some other ham take his microphone off him or something?
He didn't. He wasn't an amateur. He was the firstborn and tended to be a bit overbearing, I think.
Okay. Yes, there was a previous shop manager of the railfan shop who was a bit overbearing, so one night on the way home from work, somebody relieved him of his front teeth. He's passed away now, poor chap. He was a friend of mine, but, oh God, he could be very aggravating. Anyway.
Well, he wasn't, Philip wasn't very popular because he virtually ended up with the family guest house at Queenscliff.
Okay.
So the rest of the family, didn't have much to do with him. His son went up to Cairns years ago when I was going up there, and I asked him, I said, what have you come up here for, Colin? And I have never forgotten his answer. He said, I have come up here to teach these turkeys something.
Oh, God. So he's inherited it.
Yes. And the funny part of it was when we were, myself, Laurie and Lynn were picked up by a limo to go to Hawaii. Oh, no, this was America. 2000... Jesus,
you were picked up by a limo?
Hang on, yeah, it was part of the deal. When was it? Been there that many times, I've forgotten. Was it 2006? That's right.
Yep.
Just before I was made redundant. And I was talking to the taxi driver about this, that and the other, and Cairns came up, and Tawny's restaurant at the Marlin Jetty. He was managing that, and I said, did you ever come across a character called Colin Sylvester? The look on his face was enough to tell me yes.
Oh, dear.
I said, don't judge the rest of the family and me by him. His father was the black sheep of the family, and he's inherited it. So I don't know what he did, but I could imagine him loud-mouthing himself around the restaurant.
Oh, dear. Every family has one.
Yeah, that's for sure. Can be a small world, Chris.
Well, yeah, I mean, Prue had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and 5 people more different you could not imagine. It's hard to believe they're all from the same womb.
Yes. Can believe it.
Any comment, Peter?
Nope, just filling in my logbook, but listening intently.
Yeah, there's about a 10 dB difference between your audio level and Jeff's, so I'm having to ride the gain control up and down. Every time Jeff comes up, it goes down. Every time you come on, it goes up. Sometimes I forget and Jeff gets howling feedback.
All good.
Okay.
I had a terrible attack of constipation the other day, Chris.
Oh, too much information.
It was hell, I can assure you. It was hell. It was that bad I had to go into the shower to get some sort of relief.
You could always be the mathematician with constipation.
But hang on, let me finish. I dug around in the kitchen, in the vanity cupboard in the bathroom, and found my old anemone bulb.
Oh, God.
Jeff?
Very much too much.
Yeah, please don't feel that you have to tell us all your personal information.
Do we get a plop-by-plop description?
Well, after 3 anemones, I was running out of hot water in the shower, frantically turning down the cold. No, I was running out of hot water, and all of a sudden, I had what you would call a complete evacuation of the bowels.
Oh, dear. I'm not going to go near your shower, that's for sure.
It's getting worse, Chris.
Chris, if you remember the Boris Karloff film where the mad scientist joined him all together and connected him up to the lightning bolts and it became alive, yes. I reckon it was alive.
Maybe that was, they should have that thing up on top of the castle wall and advertise it as a good cure for constipation. I'm sure do it.
Now I have an appreciation of what women go through in childbirth.
Oh, my God.
I sympathise with them wholly and completely, but my God, what a relief. I felt 50 years younger.
Yes, well, one of Prue's friends, Prue having not been through childbirth, we don't have any children, but we were talking one night about childbirth, and one of Prue's friends who's had 2, Prue asked, what does it feel like? And she sort of leant forward and said, it's like passing the biggest turd you've ever imagined. And I'm glad her daughters weren't around to hear it.
That's a literal translation for some people.
Oh, dear.
I can sympathise with her.
Yes. Dear, oh dear. You got to eat more fibre, Jeff.
I suffered from it quite a few years ago when I was driving for Linfox out of the McEwen's contract. And it was, that's what the cause was, a lack of fibre at that time. They had a word for it, I can't think what it was. A diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis. Prue,
that's it, that's the word.
Prue has it, very painful.
But I got some magic potion from the chemist, and it took overnight, but oh boy, it was the same glorious relief.
By the way, it's not just fibre, it's also fluid in your diet.
Oh, yeah.
When you're dehydrated, stools tend to be firmer and harder.
Yeah, it was like a lot of marbles originally.
One of the things that Prue had from her nursing career was a stool identification chart.
Yep.
Standard classifications.
Oh, God.
I couldn't believe it. You know, that's a number 1, and that's a number 2, and that's a number 2 with a certain sort of problem. You know, Christ.
we used to test for blood. You'd get a, it was like blotting paper. I don't know if it was a special formula. You'd get a tablet, and Ames was the company that made these tablets. You'd put a little bit of poo on top of it and add a drop of water, and the paper underneath would turn blue if there was any blood in the feces.
Oh, is that how they do the, you know, when you're supposed to do the test for bowel cancer?
They would have a more up-to-date. I'm talking about this is what we did in the 70s, because blood isn't always obvious visually. By the way, a bit of useless information for you, Melina. Tarry black poo is digested blood that's gone all the way through. So if you've got something leaking stomach level or higher, you'll have black poo. Whereas if it's red, if the stool, as it's called, is red, it's obviously pointing to some sort of hemorrhaging in the lower part of the bowel.
Yes. Delightful.
Oh, and those tarry black melinas stink. More than normal. Well, while we're on the subject of all that...
Please.
It's certainly been... Wind it down, Chris. It's certainly been an anal subject tonight, hasn't it?
Say that a certain bad policeman's got our number now.
Polite when I say anal.
I think I might wind it down at this point.
It's 5 minutes past 12, yes. I think we all had a good laugh.
Yes, yes.
All got it out of our system.
Yeah, good. Well, as it were. One of us particularly. But yeah, thanks for the information on the Leonsky stuff. I know it's sort of... It was a series of crimes at a very strange time in Australian history that at any other period than the depths of the war in 1942 would probably have been treated entirely differently. I mean, there are hospitals for the criminally insane where there are murderers that have been committed to them. Like Ararat used to be. I don't know whether Ararat still exists, Peter.
There's an old section in it that's a tourist thing. I had that in mind to go and visit it, only COVID interfered in that process. So something's a museum. As far as I know, there's still part of it that is in existence, but I wouldn't be too sure.
Okay. Well, I remember Prue telling me that if anybody got tough with them in the public hospital system, they were shuffled off to what they called forensic psychiatry, which is done in specialist lock wards like Ararat, where I believe they have lots of mattresses on the wall.
What about Sunbury, when that was in operation? That's where they used to cart all the alcoholics, and I believe they had a big mangle up there, Chris, and they put them through the mangle and squeeze all the alcohol out of them.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, I can understand how, alcohol would send you round the twist. I mean, even in my own case, in the old days, if I got really shickered, for 2 or 3 days afterwards, I would recognise that I was being tetchy, and I didn't know why, except that recovering from the alcohol had somehow made me very intolerant of abuse. You know what I mean? The slightest thing will make you react violently.
Once I got it out of my system, next day or something, I was okay. But I did have a drink tonight. I had a diet ginger beer topped up with green ginger wine.
Oh, right. Okay. Now you'll be singing like Tom Waits.
Oh, just only a little bit, but it did put me to sleep there for a couple of minutes after tea. I had a very nice piece of Tasmanian salmon, Chris.
Oh, okay. We had marinated Aldi chicken. So,
Okay. Anyway, look, it's been great talking to yourself, Peter.
Likewise.
I've got Moorabbin Club tomorrow, so I'd better be bright and early and whatever, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I try and leave here by around about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Get rid of the school traffic up the road. It can get a bit congested. But
how are you receiving this as what do you call it? Duplex at the moment, Jeff. Are you using two receivers or?
So I've got you on 2 metres on the scanner, of course.
Ah, okay. With a separate antenna or the same antenna?
Yeah, no, separate. Hang on, I've got to think now. Oh, yes, separate antenna, of course. I'm using the scanner antenna for the scanner, of course, and for this, it's what I've always used. It's just a diamond mobile on a ground plane above the bedroom here.
Yeah, I'm using the same antenna to transmit and receive with a diplexer in it. So, it gives me the advantage of the high level and the high gain. But, I was about to say, if you're trying to receive it on a second receiver and you have some trouble, you obviously don't have enough rigs.
Looking at 1, 2,
I'm being
3,
facetious.
4, 5 of them here.
I know.
In front of me. And that's only in the bedroom.
Multiplied by 100.
Yeah. Enough of that anyway. Right, I'm going to say good morning, Peter, and good morning, Chris, and we'll catch up with you in the near future. This
Okay.
is VK3VJS clear.
And may the constipation not be with you.
Cheers, Jeff.
Cheers.
Bye, mate.
Yeah, anyway, Pete, we'll wind it up now, I hope. Anything more of that line, I don't think I could have taken.
Yes, it was, boy, we cover a lot of subjects. But that's not what I expected to engage with at all, but there you go. Well, I made it worse. I described how we used to test for fecal blood in stools. So
I'm sure the listeners will be really
ask Prue about that. She'll remember the tablet and the little eyedropper of water that you used to put on top of the tablet. Actually, no, that's right. You smeared the poo onto the paper and
Wouldn't you be
the tablet on
gagging
top of
while
that.
Wouldn't you be gagging while all that's going on?
No, because you saw so much of it. We certainly wiped our share of pooey bumps and the like, and changed enough pooey beds, but there you go.
Yes.
Chris, thanks again for another crossband extravaganza. Oh, a little bit of late news for you.
Yeah.
Mr. Fred, VK3 Zulu Alpha Quebec,
Yep.
entered the realm of POTA activators.
Oh.
He submitted. Well, he and I had a chat. He was at Arthur's Seat on 6 metres a month or two ago, and anyway, he submitted it as a log to Parks on the Air. And next thing I knew, I had a look, and because it gives you a full breakdown of your stats for number of contacts.
So presumably he's now got a stiff ticket.
Well, something like that. Anyway, I noticed that I had 2 contacts on 6 metres for Parks on the Air rather than just the one. And that, of all things, was a field day a year or two ago. The club down there at Terrelgan Way, whatever they're called, were operating for the field day, but also submitted a log for Parks on the Air. So I gained my very first contact on 6 metres for Parks on the Air. But not my first contact on 6 metres. I've had lots of them, including ZL. Unfortunately, no further than ZL, thanks to a certain contributor to the Coffin Cheaters net, but I won't start that again.
Yes.
And who also deletes my comments to him on YouTube, but never mind. Have a great day. Don't think we'll bump into each other tomorrow. I'm not going anywhere. Although hopefully Prue gets out and sees some more scenery, and she did look all good today.
Look,
so,
she's really pushing hydrotherapy, physiotherapy, and exercising at home. So she's apart from the bone problem, she's quite good nick.
Yeah, and I'm quite familiar with the bone problem. By the way, the young lass that I was carer for until she died, she had, not so long ago, she had an operation on her C3 cervical spine, vertebrae, sorry, and at the time she was told you'll either not survive or you'll be in a nursing home. And she was neither. She was made of tough stuff, and mind you, she didn't walk much. She didn't walk at all without a walking frame after that, but it was an interesting time.
Well, the problem that Prue has with walking is that they set the spine in such a way that she has a permanent lean forward from the pelvis. So she needs something in front of her to support her weight when she stands up. That you know, anything you can do sitting down, Prue can do with ease. Driving a car, you know, peeling spuds, making a dinner, no problem as long as she's sitting down. Although she likes me to be in the car with her because if she's in heavy traffic, I can spin my head round and see what's coming a little faster than she can spin her whole body. So that may be a problem in the longer term, in which case I will have to learn to drive at 72. Oh dear.
Well, it's not that hard. I'm sure you'll be able to manage it. Mind you, it's not that hard. It's sad how a lot of people still can't do it or don't apply common sense.
It's the other people on the road that worry me.
Oh yes. It's you can be the safest driver in the world, but it's the other idiot coming towards you.
Oh yeah.
And there's a certain person on amateur radio who it scares the crap out of me to think that he drives.
Oh.
Mr. Pickles on Rye. Anyway,
okay.
Too much said. All right, I better let you depart and get back to your dear Prue. Thanks again for being there and being the crossbander, Chris.
Okay.
VK3AML. This has been VK3ACZ.
Just to conclude, I'll play this as we've been talking about sewers. I'll see if I can find something appropriate here to play us out. Spectral frequency display. This will tell me where the start of the thing is. And okay, I think this is it. Here we go.
Well, yeah, because I needed to collect some samples to run some...
Oh, here we are. Yes, I'll just and turn up the trebles. And away we go. This is there's all sorts of obscure stuff on the Internet Archive, and this is a man who raises the art of nuisance phone calls to an art form, as you will hear.
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your neighbor, Mr. Ramsey.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just calling because I was doing some digging earlier, and I tapped into your sewer line.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, first let me explain. The reason I was doing that is I'm an evolutionary scientist, and I needed to collect some samples because I'm trying to come up with a new way to sequence DNA. And so anyways, I tapped into your sewer line, and I ran a battery of tests on your stool sample.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the results here, and it shows that you are the closest known relative to apes.
Who the fuck are you?
This is your neighbor, Mr. Ramsey. Why are you using that language?
Huh?
Why are you using that language with me?
Well, I mean, this is an odd call. You tapped into my sewer line?
Well, yeah, because I needed to collect some samples to run some tests on. And I have remarkable results here. Like, I don't think you understand. It's showing that you're like essentially the missing link. Your very existence proves evolution.
Which neighbor are you?
I'm just a few houses down from you, Mr. Ramsey. I don't think we've ever met in person.
I don't know that I have a neighbor named Ramsey.
No, it's Earl.
No, my name's John Benet.
John Benet Ramsey. Yeah, sure.
He tapped into our sewer and he's found samples of my stool that he wants to tell me about my DNA.
Well, I would hang up if I were you.
Well, why?
So would I.
Why would you hang up? I'm just trying to explain.
You're a fucking weirdo.
What do you mean? You're a fucking weirdo. His wife was in the background. I would hang up.
Hello?
Hey, Cynthia?
Yes?
Hey, it's your neighbor, Mr. Ramsey, and can you quit bossing your husband around? I was trying to have a conversation with him.
Hello?
Hi, Mary?
Yes.
Hey, it's your neighbor, John Benet?
Yeah. Well, I don't know which neighbor you are.
Oh, I'm just a few houses down from you. I don't think we've ever met.
Yes.
But the reason I was calling is I was doing some digging the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I tapped into your septic tank.
Oh, well, now, our septic tank is inside a fenced area.
Yeah, but it's underground, though, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I don't know how you could have you would have had to have come inside the fence, wouldn't you?
No, it's underground. I was digging underground. Like, I started digging from my backyard.
Uh-huh.
And then I dug a tunnel over, and I tapped into your septic tank.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I don't know if we've had any problem or not. I've been out of town and just gotten home in the last little bit.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be a problem. Like, you wouldn't have noticed or anything. I just hooked up a device to it to collect some stool samples.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to let you know that your meat consumption is a little high.
Well, now, does the city regulate how much meat we can eat?
Oh, no, I'm not with the city. I'm just saying, like, for health reasons, like, I thought you'd want to know that, you've been eating a little too much pork.
I rarely.
And it goes on in that vein. Anyway, with that, I'll close. This is VK3AM. We've been very anal tonight. VK3 Alpha Mike Lima now closing. All the best, people. I hope it's going to be cleaner next time.